Good day. Welcome to the Onslow County Museum. My name is Miss Emily, and today we are going to be talking about some aspects of our colonial life, and in particular, our domesticated arts. So I am located in our colonial house that we have here at the museum, and we're just going to talk about a few things that some of our ladies during the colonial time period would have been doing. We'll start with spinning. So right here we have our spinning wheel. This one doesn't have a pedal, so usually we associate spinning wheels with pedals where you could sit and you push on it and it makes the wind spill. This one is actually where you would have to turn the wheel itself. You can see here is actually some wool that has already been spun. So we're going to kind of walk through how you would actually do that. So I have some raw wool, and this wool has already been processed. So raw wool would be much coarser. So this you can already see has already been dyed. It's been carded already, so brushed. It's nice and fluffy. So raw wool wouldn't actually look this nice, we'll say. After we have sheared the sheep, so after you've removed the wool from the sheep, they would have to wash it because sheep are farm animals. They live outside, they're dirty, a little stinky. So what they would do is they would actually take the wool and they would basically wash it, soak it in water, big old tubs full of water, and they would also put some tobacco solution in there to kind of get rid of bugs. So you got to think about, says sheep are outside, they've got fleas, ticks, so that tobacco solution would help kill that. So after they've washed it, they would lay it out to dry, and after it had dried for a period of time, they would then have to card it. So this is basically where they brush the wool to get all the tangles and knots out. So what they would use are these right here. So these are some carders. Now these are more modern day styled carders. You can see there are almost like these little nails, but they're metal, super sharp, super tough, and that is because wool, raw wool especially, is tough. So your brushes have to be strong in order to brush through the wool itself. So they would take their wool and kind of string it onto the carders. And those little metal pieces, they're just going to kind of grab onto the wool itself. And then they would take their other carder and then just start brushing. So these metal pieces are going in and basically kind of brushing the wool, getting out any kind of knots, tangles, leftover bugs that maybe didn't get out of the wash, and then we'll just kind of brush them off. You can pull it right off. It's nice and fluffy. And we'll brush this one off and kind of pull it right off. So once they have carded their wool, once they've carded it, they brushed it, they would have to spin it. So in this instance, if they did have a spinning wheel, like what we saw earlier, they could use that. If they didn't have a spinning wheel, then they would use something like this. So this is called a drop spindle. Again, it's more of that modern day style of a drop spindle, but it does the same purpose as the older drop spindles, which is to help you spin your wool. So what I have been taught is after you've carded your wool, you just kind of, it helps it if you kind of make a little snake out of it. Think about if you're rolling Play-Doh. All right, we'll take off some of this. So we're going to roll it. And then we're just going to kind of loop it off at the top. Now the drop spindle has a little hook here, and they would probably make a knot. We're just kind of spinning on top, just to save us a little bit of time. And it helps if you kind of pull a little bit. And then as you spin the spindle, you just kind of move your hands up. And you're kind of guiding how far you want your wool to actually spin. So this is a process that they would be doing days. It could take a while for them to spin wool like this. So the spinning wheel was definitely much quicker. I did pretty good, not too bad. I got a little lump right there. But this is spinning wool. So this is something that they would have to do. And after they spun it, they could just add on to and keep going. So I could always tie it off, make another, put some more wool on, and keep spinning. So after they've done that, they would then use a loom And a loom is a machine that basically weaves for you. So you would take your string, your yarn that you have made, and you would attach it to the loom, and the loom would weave your string together, which would make big sheets of fabric. So think about like a bed sheet. And then from there, they could actually start cutting out and making patterns for whatever type of clothing that they needed, whether it was socks, aprons, chemise, shirts, things like that. So all in all, it take a couple of months, if not longer, to make clothing. So that's why many colonial people didn't have a lot of clothes, maybe 2 to 3 outfits, just because clothing itself took a long time to make.